Numa Pompilius rules for 43 years. I've mentioned this, and then he's dead. And when he dies, somebody else takes over. But before somebody else takes over, there's a short period when the senators kind of rule, like what happened after the passing of Romulus. And now the person who takes over after that goes into this mode of trying to redo most of the things that Numa Pompilius has done. Now, I take this opportunity to welcome you to my channel. In this channel, we explore ancient texts. We try to find interesting stories and information from ancient texts. And ancient texts here, I mean texts that have been around for thousands of years. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe so that you don't miss any video that I upload. And of course, that will also help me reach a bigger audience. Now, Numa Pompilius is dead. For a short while, there is this interregnum period, as Livy calls it, or maybe the people who translated Livy's work call it. And this is a period when there is no king, and the senators kind of rule. And then not long after his death, it seems like it was a short moment, another king was elected, and this guy went by the name Tullus Hostilius. Tullus Hostilius is a grandson of an Hostilius that Livy mentions, who led the Romans fight the Sabines when the Sabines came to attack them, before the Sabines became part of Rome. Now he becomes king, and after being confirmed as king, he decides to pursue the policies of Romulus. He is more, in fact, Livy tells us that Tullus Hostilius was more warlike than Romulus. That's how much he loved war. And Livy says that's because, he says part of that is because he was very young when he became a king. And also he was so proud of being the grandson of his grandfather, Hostilius, who was like a leader in the war they fought with the Sabines. So that kind of motivated him to also want to prove himself that I'm the grandson of my grandfather, who was really good at war. And in fact, he thought Numa Pompilius had made, as Livy describes it, that the nation was growing decrepit from inaction. So he thought Numa Pompilius had made the state so docile by pursuing these peace and religious things that the state was, according to him, the state was not in a good condition. So he decides he wants war. And he starts looking for excuses. Livy tells us he starts looking for excuses to start war with neighboring nations. And one of that excuse is there was this push and pull between Rome and Alba. Remember, Alba is where Romulus came from. Like, Romulus' family ruled Alba before Romulus was born, and then Romulus moves to found a new city. Alba is where they came from. Alba were like cousins of Romans. But he wants war with Alba, and he starts using excuses of grazing land. There was kind of push and pull about grazing land between Alba and Rome, and he sends envoys to Alba to complain that the Alba people had pushed out the Romans from a certain part of the countryside where they were grazing their animals. And that kind of like infuriated the king of Alba, who by then was a guy by the name Gaius Clodius. Gaius Clodius was unhappy about that, and so this push and pull went on, and it became war, and Rome and Alba started a war. And during that war, in the beginning of it, at least, Gaius Clodius dies, and somebody else takes over in Alba. And now that's where a new interesting tale comes up about this conflict between Alba and Rome.